I am ready.
You're on.
Right, so we have come up with a friend quadrant rubric because we were talking about the different ways that you have people in your life, the different strengths of relationships, and in part this came out of a conversation we were having about like collaboration and human contact and how great it is to have these connections and how they can change throughout the course of your life. Some people you're really close to become less close. So the quadrants are a way to try and think about the different places that people might occupy your life. And we went with the two axes of the frequency with which you see the person and the intensity of your connection with that person. So people who you see infrequently, you don't see them very often, or over here on the left. People who you see all the time, every single day, over here. People who you have a very, very close connection with up here are high, and then here low, and then that's sort of the midpoint there too. So we didn't have Eugene fill this out, so I don't have comparison, but this was sort of a general first take at filling out what the quadrants would be like. So people that you don't see very often, low frequency, low intensity, are those acquaintances like the friends of friends, the people you see every year at somebody's Christmas party, you say hi to, you're friendly, maybe you could be better friends with them, but you just sort of never pull that off, or you just don't have the energy or the time to reconnect with them. So they sort of stay in the acquaintances. People who you have a high frequency with, but maybe a low to moderate level of intensity are some of your colleagues, right? Like the people you're close with while you're working with them. Maybe they know about your personal life, maybe they don't know about your personal life, but you see them every day, and so you have some working relationship with them that may not be super, super close, but it's at least cordial, and you have some human connection with them that you act on all the time. And then up here in the like, you see them all the time, and you have a very, very close connection. For me, that's a small group of people. It's my spouse, it's a handful of other friends, and that's not necessarily because I don't like seeing people on a regular basis, but it's also because of time and how many people you have time to see within a week when you have a very, very busy life. And one of the questions Eugene asked is like, is that the right number? So in thinking about, is this quadrant a useful way to think about people in your life? If you're the kind of person who likes to spend your spare time thinking about allocating your friends and your people into quadrants, then one of the questions might be to think about what's the right number of people to have. Some people like having a lot of besties who they talk to every day. Some people can't imagine going more than a few days talking to a sibling or a parent. Some people are comfortable having longer periods of time and feel like when they do see that person, they're really connected to them, and that's great. The connection stays just as robust even if they don't talk to them that often. And that's okay. So then they're in the high intensity, low frequency people. Maybe you're someone who likes to have a lot of people up here and maybe not so many people here. Maybe it's vice versa. So one way to think about this is, where do you want these people to be? And what's your number? And if you're not meeting that number, how do you change that? And then the other thing is about thinking about movement between these quadrants. And I think part of why we even started in this conversation was that idea of how do you activate people from one space into another? Like, how do you take people who you're working with on a very casual basis, which we as consultants do a lot, and decide that you want to do a long-term project with them, or actually subcontract to them, or do a much more intensive relationship than you were doing when you were just sort of casually part of a larger group having coffee once a month and co-working.
Thank you. That's the K quadrant.
No!
All right, we'll discuss naming later.
No, we're not going to look at the K quadrant.